is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I bumped the camera.
Yeah, you did. We're off on an angle.
Well, I'll fix it.
Yeah.
You guys do.
Welcome to DCOM Descendants, everybody. A show that, if you're watching on YouTube, is sometimes off-centered.
But I think you and I look great.
We look great. We're centered the way we should be. Main
And
character energy.
Brand is off to the side.
That's right. Off to the side. He just does the synopsis. Don't listen to him. That's better. That's about right. Right there. Nope. Yep. We're good. It's as good as it's going to get. Basically, what happens on this show, if you're tuning in for the first time to hear us talk about Read It and Weep, these two clowns grew up watching DCOMs, and I didn't.
What does it make you?
I got your miracle right here, sucker.
I don't think we're clowns.
Hey, nobody's left a rating review in the last 10 minutes. Week. So I don't have any of those to read and weep. So
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad. We're talking Read It and Weep today, which is very exciting. Another movie that I missed at the time, but starring sisters.
Sister.
Okay.
Nope.
Sisters. I've been told I'm not allowed to sing it.
Please do.
Sisters, come at me.
Yeah, we just got a bill, email bill. It's unbelievable.
Come
They're
at
on
me.
it.
Starring the Panabaker sisters.
Which is one of which continued on in acting. The other is at Animal
Kingdom.
Planet.
Animal Planet. So I'm very excited to see what the list she brought.
Yeah.
Aaron and
Is that a segment on this program?
Is it time for that?
a movie
Did we play
about
the Delish music?
We're playing it.
Okay.
A movie
I
about
knew that.
Yeah, no, we all did.
a movie about a girl who has a book published.
Mm-hmm.
A movie
That's a diary,
that
yes.
takes place, some of it within a pizza shop.
Easy for you to say.
Let's see what you got.
Well, last night when I was obviously making so many chocolate chip cookies for the Wendy Wu episode,
What are you talking about?
I also made a seaweed
Baker's
pizza. Just kidding. So I was trying to figure out what to do for this one. Pizza seemed like the obvious choice, but I also knew that we were potentially recording this episode in the morning, in which one of us would definitely not be eating that pizza.
Hey, can I tell you something? My kids are having a birthday party at an arcade place, and they include pizza, and I wanted a 9:30 a.m. birthday start because I wanted that thing to be done by noon. And I was like, we'll play video games, then we'll eat pizza. And they were like, one of the rules we have here is we can't do the video games first. It has to be the pizza first. So you either need to move your party to noon or pizza's at 9:30 a.m. And I said, fire up that pizza at 9:30 a.m. So for my kids' birthday party, all their kids from their classes are showing up, and at 9:30 a.m., they're going to have a pizza mid-morning snack, and then they're going to play the arcade games.
Amazing.
Right? So somebody's eating 9:30 pizza in the month of May. Just so happens it's not us.
But it's not you.
Not me. No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat.
So
I will be eating pizza at 9:30. Like,
Yeah, you're
if
going.
it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I hear Main Event Pizza is a lot better than the pizza at like the Big Air.
It's not bad.
Oh, you've
it's
had it?
better than Big Air Pizza. Yeah, I've been to a birthday party there already.
All right. There you go.
I get around. I go to a lot of parties.
I go to a lot of kids' birthday parties, said Brandon.
my kids.
There it is.
my
Anyway, go
kids.
ahead, Aaron,
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
So I got this new cookbook or cocktail book. Was flipping through it, just wanted to see if there was any recipes
A
that
perusal.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if there's something that stuck out to me that could maybe be themed for this movie. Inside look on the process here is months ago when we started this, or a year ago when we started this podcast, I went through every movie and I went through all my cookbooks and kind of wrote down thoughts. I had like a spreadsheet for all the movies and kind of wrote down thoughts for each one. And then movies that I need to actually see the movie before I can remember something iconic from it. Then I kind of do the process one by one. I go through different cookbooks and try to find a recipe.
Put a lot of thought into this.
I put a lot. I do try. Some movies are easier than
Put
others.
a lot of thought, and then you run up to Publix.
And then I run out to Publix and I grab 13 cookies.
And 11 make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
8-2 first.
You got to try them.
Yeah.
And anyway,
See
so
if
this
they're
book
poisonous.
had
One for the road.
this book was cocktail book pairs different cocktails with like famous pop songs.
Okay.
And so this one goes with the song "I Want to Dance with Somebody Who
Wanna
Loves
dance
Me,"
with somebody.
which I thought was nice for this movie because there is a dance.
Yes.
It is about Jamie kind of figuring out who she is and
This could have worked for Wendy Wu as well.
the people who really, but she doesn't actually go to the dance.
She doesn't. You're right. But
And
there
it's
is
about her,
yeah.
and so like, she kind of is going with the popular boy who she thinks really sees her and loves her, and she finds out that, spoiler, he doesn't.
Who does she want to be in the dance of life? If you
Dance
will,
of life,
you
that's
know?
right.
But then also,
We dance.
the cocktail that goes with this is a jalapeno gin cocktail. And I thought that was also like a nice nod to the dad's pizza place where they're just trying all these really weird, like, sir, it's pizza. It pretty much sells itself.
That's right. Jalapeno gin. I'm listening.
But they end up making it with like a seaweed pizza. So here, this was like, you wouldn't normally think about putting jalapenos in a gin cocktail.
A maraschino cherry in there.
Yeah, it's a weird. There's some glitter in there too. Don't worry. Sparkly for a dance. I did make the gin syrup, the jalapeno syrup myself. So I did.
Okay.
I did.
All right, fancy.
So
Here we go.
I
Cheers,
did
everybody.
make something for this mixed dish. Ray, you don't want to be in this?
It's delicious.
Yeah,
I really like it.
It's just a touch sweet for
Yeah.
me. But the flavor profile
The kick.
is there.
The kick, Aaron Shay.
The flavor profile is 100% there.
This is definitely a cocktail I would have again. I think I would tweak a little less. There's like grenadine in there. I would put less grenadine than what they said.
Yeah, it's a lot of grenadine.
Am I that come as no surprise? I think it's perfect distance.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
That checks.
But I did double the amount of jalapenos in the syrup
go.
recipe because it was
I can feel that.
it was like depending on how much flavor you want, and I was like, I want
Kick it up a
I want
notch.
all the flavor.
Got to kick it up. Absolutely.
She's a winner.
So what I did to not kill us with the pepper flavor is I made, because you have to simmer it for like 20 minutes, and I simmered it for about half that time with the correct amount of jalapenos, and then for the final 10 I threw more in to get an extra kick of flavor.
I mean,
But
it's
I was quite
delicious.
proud of it. It was actually really fun. So
I mean, the flavor's there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just really good. I think it's the best cocktail you've made for us here. I think it's the best cocktail you've made for us.
Really
Oh,
great.
yeah, yeah.
I'll be.
It could be just
I'll
the 10:25 a.m. talking, but
I'll be sipping on it. I'll be sipping on it all during this break, and maybe during the first segment. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll come right back. We'll talk Read It and Weep. Maybe we'll all get buzzed. Decondescendence. Decondescendence.
Decondescendence.
Decondescendence.
The sweetness could also be that I don't think there's enough gin in there.
Yeah.
I knew that we were making this at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Can I tell you this? If I was making this, I would have a component that was bubbly.
There's Sprite in there.
So like I would have more of that. Like
I can
if
taste
I,
the
like I
Sprite.
would almost replace the Sprite for just like Topo Chico, and then I would be happy because then it's got more bite to it, less sweet. I just took some of the sugar out, and you could probably keep the grenadine in at that point, and
It's really good.
you've got maybe a perfect cocktail. And I'm not a big fruit cocktail guy, but
I'll
that's
play around
really
with
good.
it. And then at our company picnic later this summer.
Company picnic. Yeah.
I would drink this all weekend long. Hypothetically, if we were recording this on the last day of the week, I would consider, maybe making this as
Making it a
weekend.
party. Yeah.
Let's talk Read It and Weep, shall we? Read It and Weep aired on the Disney Channel on July 21st, 2006.
I was on summer vacation now.
I hope so.
They did let you out in
Eventually.
Massachusetts in July.
Eventually.
The birthplace of public education, Massachusetts, is like, you're in school all year.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's ridiculous.
This is based on a book, How My Private Personal Journal Became a Bestseller by Julie DeVillers. And the movie is
Can't
written...
possibly be DeVillers, but,
DeVillers.
wow. I wish her first name was Cruella. Yeah. Cruella DeVillers.
Julia DeVillers. I don't know what to tell you.
Julia DeVillers.
The movie's written by Patrick
Badilla.
Patrick J. Clifton and Beth Regazio. And it is starring, it's directed by Paul Hone, who I believe we've seen a few times now, and starring Kay Panabaker, Danielle Panabaker, Allison Stagliati, and Jason Dolly. Jason Dolly.
Jason Dolly.
We will see again.
We will see many Jason Dolly movies in the future. Are we ready?
Fun fact, I haven't seen those.
So this is you're gonna go on a Jason Dolly venture here.
I mean, yeah, there's just, as you said in the previous episode, how this is the period of time where you got more like, you pick and choose which DComs you saw.
Yep.
I would choose the ones that starred female leads, and then skip the other ones. So Jason Dolly.
I honestly, I'm interested to see, but I think there may be a correlation for me as well, but on the
other side.
On the other side.
Yeah,
because I was a boy.
Have you seen Hatching Pete and Minutemen?
I have.
Okay, I haven't.
I sure have.
I think I started to watch Minutemen and said this makes no sense.
Minutemen rules. In my,
we'll see.
You guys are so cool.
Read it in a week.
It's like we're speaking a foreign language to you.
Read it in a week, Dan.
I just zoned out there for a bit. It was great. I was living my own life. It was fantastic.
Meet Jamie Bartlett.
Man, that was too good.
Jamie
Should've
Bartlett.
saved some of that energy.
Jamie Bartlett is a
For the Minutemen conversation.
is a freshman who loves writing.
It's all the gin that we got.
She was merely freshman.
Sure. She has this crazy laptop tablet combo thing. Aaron, would
Amazing.
you like to talk about it?
Oh, man, I should have brought my laptop out.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
It's the Microsoft Surface Pro 20 years early.
Yeah. It is the reason my first laptop that I purchased with my own money was a Microsoft Surface, because it was as close as I thought I could get to hers.
To reading Wii.
Yeah. That commercial that they put out where they're like sliding around and clicking it off and clicking it on.
Yeah.
The people who made this movie were like, wait a second.
That's right.
That's ours.
We've already done
The
this.
fact that it was like a laptop, but then she could swivel, and then it had like a stylus, and it was just so creative.
And as you were writing it, knew when to make
when
the
to
font
make it
bigger,
bigger, smaller, different
knew.
pictures, color.
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
I wanted it. I mean, for several years, I very much used my Surface. It has like the OneNote notebook, and I would use that for everything. Notes galore. I loved it. And now my work laptop is an iPad, and the case I bought mimics what Jamie's laptop does. And so I feel like 20 years later, I did it.
You did it. Congratulations.
Still
You're Jamie.
waiting on my smart house, but
Oh,
I
we're getting there.
will accept.
yes,
fancy
this
tablet.
does give us hope that Smart House
could happen.
That's exactly right. So she's writing. She likes to write a journal, but she uses kind of this alter ego as she's writing, named Is. Unlike Jamie, is popular, is able to
Super
climb
confident.
rope, is able to talk to boy, is able to stand up to bully, and Jamie's not really able to do any of that. And she has her own bully.
Jamie is
Sawyer.
shy and retiring.
Yes, she's
Shy
retired.
and retiring.
She's
She's hanging them up.
that's exactly
High
right.
schools, she's had enough.
Guys, that's what it says
Yeah.
on
On
the
IMDb, the
She's
description
retired.
says that Jamie is shy and retiring. And
But I gotta be honest,
we
I
learned that retiring is just another way of saying shy.
So she's shy and shy.
She's too shy. And if
She's
you get
shy.
that reference, good for you. And
Shy Rodney.
but and then we just do a shy Rodney.
Shy Ronnie.
But we've just making retiring jokes.
Yeah.
She's retiring.
She's a retiree.
Yeah, she's very
retired.
excited to see what hobby she picks up and
That's right.
plays her time.
Shuffle.
In her middle
tennis,
teenageness.
golf.
That's right. In her 14, 15 age.
Woodworking. For her, there was an English assignment, like this essay, also as competition. I don't know, but she writes an essay, and her printer dies though, and so her brother Lenny is like, "You can't use my printer because each kid, I guess, has their own printer." Don't
Each
worry.
kid has their own printer, and the family does not
Yeah.
like. The parents, I guess, don't have one.
With laptops like that, you kind of
You need your own printer,
You set a
that's for sure.
standard.
And so her friend Lindsay offers to print it, just email it to me. But they're in the middle of watching the programs. And
programs.
so
Their stories.
That's exactly right. So she she gets distracted. And instead of dragging the essay to the email,
Oh,
she
no.
drags her journal to the email. Lindsay prints it out full color, front and back.
Yeah, she doesn't question
Doesn't
at
read
all.
it. Just like this is going straight
She
to
doesn't
print.
read it. She doesn't
Stop
leap
the
it.
printers.
And
Also, an amazing email system where all she had to do was drag the file
to email it.
to the send
Streets
icon.
ahead. Streets ahead. This
And
movie.
that icon knew this
Where
is
to
going to
send it.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
Send to Lindsay.
Gave me unrealistic computer dreams. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that smart.
Nowadays, you put in a document and it's like, it's too big. What do you want to do?
Yeah, that
We
file-
can't-
I don't freaking know what to
We
do.
can't
That
email
three-
5 photos. Are you crazy?
Cannot email 5 photos, but in 2006, she could email a book to Lindsay,
That's right.
and that computer was like,
And then
got it.
Google's
All
like,
good.
do you
You
want
got
to
it,
send
dude.
it as a drive link? And I'm like, yeah. And then I
Just
get an
send
email
it.
an hour later
Google.
saying, I don't have permission to
I don't have
open
permission
this.
to open it. This
And
is
I'm
the
like,
best
well,
we got.
I thought I did.
This is the best we got.
Thought I gave you permission.
If you
I
Google,
when I email something on a Google link, I always change it. I give that person full editing
You have
control
to.
because I'm like,
You
I don't know.
got to.
I don't want you to
Yeah,
contact me
no.
again about this link.
yeah, this transaction's done.
I don't know. Still, sometimes
it doesn't let you.
work. It's
No,
like, yeah.
even with the editor link, I still had will@will.com emailing me saying
that's right.
I can't open this file, and I was like, gosh darn it.
Come on, Will.
I mean, I blame Google for that.
Yeah, that's Google's fault.
Will@will.com would never,
He would never.
but it's just the Google.
you can text people more things than you can email,
Correct.
and I don't understand it. Anyway, this system's
Gmail's
great.
really trying to save us from something.
I guess so. They're really fighting against I don't know, too much content.
You want to share 6
too
photos?
many.
At one
That's too
time?
many.
What is this,
You're
a
gonna-
cell phone?
You're going to embarrass yourself.
What is this?
A
Multimedia
after
message?
Lindsay turns in the assignment and it ends up winning the contest, which is
Yeah.
surprising to
Whoa.
Jamie because she was like,
Right,
it's
Jamie.
not that good. And it was just like, it's not a big deal.
end. We
No.
did it.
I guess I do question, like, was it a mandatory assignment?
It did seem like it.
I just feel like mandatory, like making all of these students enter a national contest or whatever.
I don't
Just
know
seems
how wide the contest
unfair.
was. I'm still foggy on it.
I'm foggy on, maybe I should read the book, but I don't know. Just so many questions. And like Lindsay, I'm sorry. I know we're going to get to a part in this movie where you think Jamie's a bad friend. I think you're a bad friend at this moment.
Oh, snap.
wow.
I mean, I've had to print things for friends before, and I've like looked at the file and maybe not read the whole thing,
Maybe
but
you shouldn't be
I
a
will
snooper.
say she did.
But
the,
like,
no,
You're
no,
a
no.
snooper.
not
No.
a snooper, but like
You're a Snoop Dogg.
You would open that file on your computer, and the front page would be like, Jamie, is this like it doesn't
Yeah.
look like an assignment.
I would say Jamie's friend did the absolute
bare minimum?
least. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like thank you for
While
printing
doing
it.
the most, though. That's
Like
the thing. Like
bad
she printed
friend-
it full color.
Bad friend,
But-
I don't know.
and I also,
Good friend,
like-
definitely not.
I also like the times I've had to print it for my friend. I then handed it to my friend. Oh, so sorry.
God
Um,
almighty.
Dan and I aren't friends, and like handed the paper to them and been like, you know, here's the assignment. Like, just give it a final look over before I hand it in for a grade. Like, I don't want that on my conscience. Like, you hand that in yourself.
I've never entrusted anyone to print out something and hand it in for me for a grade in my life.
I've never I've done the printing because for a period of time at my college, they for a while printing was free, and then they started charging you for
Yeah.
printing. And so we would just kind of like one person would go, and we would just take turns printing for each other because it just became such a hassle to go and log
That makes
in.
sense.
And but in that case, like then we would meet up before class, and I'd be like, all right, here's your paper, like look it
Yeah.
over, make sure it.
That didn't happen here though,
No.
but she wins anyway. Brandon,
Yeah, Lindsay
which
was
is-
just like, yeah,
She
her
wins anyway.
writing assignment was a 30-page
Yes.
full color book.
And it ends
And I
up
printed that without charging her a dime.
Yeah. It ends up getting published in a newspaper called the Education Times. And this is where I'm getting at, where I'm like, I don't know how like big this contest is.
circulation
I don't know
of
what
the
I don't know what the
Education
Education Times
is.
is. I don't know if the Education Times is
It's big enough
specific to this school.
It's big
or
enough
if
to
it is-
spark a lot of like
Yes.
word of mouth.
That's exactly right.
That's what we know.
Yeah, it's great for that school if it's a school paper because every student reads it religiously and good for them.
That's right.
Yes.
But also it makes national news at this point. So I am curious.
Education time's a big deal.
Now, she's very embarrassed by all of this at first because she knows that it's just basically her journal.
And to
how
her,
she,
it's so obvious
Yes.
that it's a journal.
Yes. But ultimately, she has no choice but to give in to the hype, and she uses even more of her journals and gets the book published. It becomes a bestseller. Saves
It's printed
the world
overnight.
Overnights. She's overwhelmed by how much of a success this book is. She walks down the hallways of her school, and every kid is reading a
Her book?
hardcover copy of
Yeah,
this book.
hardcover, bound. It's just that. That's
Well,
that
I mean,
easy.
the first run is always hardcover.
Yeah,
So
and publishing we know brand. We've had a little bit of 15 years ago. Real easy to just turn that quickly.
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
Yeah, the timeline does seem like that got printed in less than a week.
In a world where that laptop exists in 06, maybe it is easy though.
That's true. That's true.
That's
The
true.
technology they have.
It's a correlation for sure.
Yeah. And it really helps because she already did all the illustrations, so they don't need to illustrate the book. It's done. It's literally just ready to print.
Good to go.
So she just had to drag that file over to send email to printers. No one stopped the printers.
Stop the printers.
National bestseller.
So everybody is reading it. Everybody is now flocking to the family pizza shop, which is great news for Dad. Dad is more happy about that than he is about his daughter's success.
Duh.
What can you do?
Because Dad is really trying to get his weird creations off the ground.
He's trying to crack the pizza game.
Yeah.
Sir, been cracked.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Yeah.
It's called
I would
pepperoni and cheese.
There's
and
so
sauce.
many cracks.
I would
in
say
that
you
ceiling.
could tweak around with like different spice in the sauce, maybe give me a different flavor profile there. But like toppings wise, stop it.
It's true. I tried a sauce
Stop
on a
it.
pizza yesterday that was
Rocked your world.
It felt new. It felt like a new new take on it.
Yeah, it was slightly on the sweet side for my taste.
Same for me, but I would eat that pizza again.
I really enjoyed
No,
it.
it just made me miss the vodka sauce pizza at Olivia's.
Okay.
No, there's a place for that pizza. I almost would. This is a weird move, but I would sprinkle pepper on top of that pizza, and I think it would be perfect.
Wow.
Just regular
Yes.
old ground black pepper.
Well, I would say it needed like a grounding
Correct.
spice.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
So this is good
More
for
oregano,
This is
maybe.
good for everybody
would
at
say
home who's also tried Romeo's.
Hypothetically, not hypothetically, but if somebody were to move in close by who had a bunch of spices and we had pizza, we could experiment with that in a few weeks.
Yeah, that would work. I also have crushed jalapeno at the house. That would be good on there because it's not like crushed red pepper. It's a different
But
flavor
that
profile.
is further away.
Correct.
Unless that also
It could make it here.
Okay.
I could make it.
can make it anywhere.
I can transport a spice, I think. See how I got room in the car.
So is someone moving to New York?
This is weird.
I'm confused. I feel like we're losing things a little bit here. Okay, so she goes and she
I'm
begins
moving closer to the studio because right now my house is the furthest away from the studio and I hate the drive. So I'm moving.
right.
And I own a lot of spices because I
owns
cook
a lot of spices. Okay,
But we're
so-
scared to use the spices at my house when you stayed there.
I've used some.
Didn't you tell me you were like the way the spices were? 'Cause
We don't wanna
The
Sarah
way they're
orders single-
organized is
Sarah orders single origin spices.
I'm
she was like, I don't want
terrified of like I'm terrified of like I did use spices recently and then I was like I don't know if I put these back right.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't need Sarah being like who
Sarah
moves my
doesn't care.
spices.
Sarah's ADHD. She doesn't actually know where the spice. She just puts them back.
Great.
Yeah.
I feel better about it.
Yeah, I'm the one that gets mad when I'm like the garlic was right. Like I'm the one that's
Yeah.
yeah.
But you haven't gotten mad at me yet about the fact that I reheated my Subway sub on your Blackstone.
Yeah, you seem fine about it.
Yeah, that's what Blackstones are meant for.
Reheating in the subway.
Yeah,
Okay,
Brand came over. We had a whole night.
it was a great day.
Yeah,
So
nothing like a pressed reheated Subway sub.
she does an interview on the news. It turns into a full press tour. She's living the dream. She returns to school and has this moment with her crush Marco, and she even sits at the popular table. And her friends are like, looks like you're having a good time over there. But her friends are trying to be supportive. It's obviously
Doing their best.
a big change. But it all comes to a crashing halt. She's a little bit overwhelmed. She goes on this interview on TV and begins to talk to herself. She's talking to like Iz off camera.
Yeah, this whole time
who's
she's
not
been
really
having
there.
conversations with Iz,
Right.
and it's been fairly benign because she's just like in her bedroom talking to Iz. But now she's straight up having a conversation with Iz on live TV,
That's right.
which is just a lot for like a 13-year-old girl to have to handle. I would
With very little prep and no one there to
I would
encourage
maybe,
her.
like, I feel like that should have been a pre-recorded segment that they could have edited.
Yeah.
Just
Live television.
she's a minor.
Live TV's tough. Live TV's tough.
But also, I mean, and I will cover this in my overtime for sure. The entire world, I think, is just watching at this point. Her mom is watching. Her agent is watching. Her have a full conversation with someone who's not there.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
No one
No
tries
one's
to
like, hey, maybe
intervene.
we should go to a hospital or get you checked out or anything. Very,
Yeah.
very Hallmark movie-esque in that regard.
Yeah, you're fine. Mental break? No.
No way.
You've got this.
That's right. And so in this interview, she lets it slip that the entire book is based off of the other kids that she goes to school with. So, the the bully is actually Sawyer. Okay. And then the bully's actually Sawyer, and all of that is true. And, you know,
She's like, what do you mean, Sawyer?
Yeah.
I thought it was Myrna. And they're like, she's like, I said Myrna. And they're like, ha, joke's on you. No, you did it. You definitely said Sawyer. And then she has a full meltdown.
Yeah.
And again, no one does anything.
No one cares. That's life sometimes.
Yep.
And so she goes to school the next day and is confronted by the entire school.
Everyone is mad. And I would say probably 8 people have the right to be mad. I mean, I highly doubt everybody in the school had a character in the book after them.
Yes, but Sawyer's mad. One of the
Sawyer has a right to be mad.
One of the dumb hunks is mad because he's just like dumb in the book. And
well, he's not mad at first. He's like, yeah, she just wrote what she sees. And then Sawyer's like, well, who do you think the dumb troll is? And he's like, oh,
it's me. And then also her friends are now also mad because she completely changed. And she, when she got popular, she let it get to her head and she started blowing them off.
Lindsay, who was a semi-okay friend printing things for her, has an animal rights protest coming up.
Right.
And
she was supposed to be.
I think that's what she blows off to go do the interview in which her whole world falls apart.
Yeah, she's supposed to be helping her friends decorate for
the dance.
There's
all these things that she promised her friends that she just starts bailing on. And at first she's trying to, she does try to do both.
Yes.
Just press tour and to be with her friends. And now she's just kind of blowing them off. She's just like, look at me, Marco talked to me, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Marco asked me to the dance, and they're like, okay, but like, what about our plans? Like, we had plans that you forgot about. And she's just like, whatever, I have to go be on the news.
There's nothing you can do. And her friends are getting ready for the dance, and they're doing this giant paper mache whale that they are planning to use as a protest.
Is the theme Under the Sea?
Yes.
No, it's Deep Blue Sea.
It's Deep Blue Sea. It's different. And so
it's a new theme.
It's a new theme, Deep Blue Sea. And so everybody's mad at her. Everybody is getting rid of her on their instant messenger. And that's how you know it's serious stuff.
And you know it's serious because everyone was sitting at home on their computer and they said, all right, here's the plan. As soon as Jamie logs on, I'm going first, and then you, and they all had a number in the order. So she logs on, and one by one, her friends delete her, and she watches it happen in real time. And it was a very great coordinated, like awful.
Yeah.
But good for those high school students for planning that movement. That was
I had to step out a second, but you guys did bring up the fact that maybe the Deep Blue Sea theme was based upon the LL Cool J Shark movie, Deep Blue Sea.
No.
Maybe they had a theme based upon that.
Yeah, it's
minted classic.
Yeah,
no, didn't bring it up.
It's with Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J.
It's sharks,
science.
It's a shark
Deep
theme.
Blue Sea.
It's a shark theme.
I just feel like they didn't have the rights to Under the Sea.
The only
which
friend,
is weird because it's a Disney Channel movie.
Yeah.
But.
The only friend that doesn't delete her on Instant Messenger is Connor. Connor is one of her best friends. Also has had a crush on her.
Yes.
And
his brother dad has been telling him to get up the nerve to ask her out
to the dance.
That's exactly right.
I think it's great when all of your friends delete you on, we're just going to call it AIM, and you message the one friend who hasn't deleted you with the message, don't you hate me too?
Yeah. I mean, but that's where she is.
You might be going
through it.
You might be going through it.
Would you forget to hate me?
Oh, did you forget it today? And so, he's basically like, you've changed, and like does all this stuff.
Yeah, he says like, I don't hate you. I hate who you've become.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is one person who does not hate her, and it is Marco, who is going to go to the dance with her. And she is very excited about this. One, he's hunk. And two, he writes really deep and moving poetry.
Yep.
Even stands up for in the Education Times.
That's right.
Yeah. So she likes him, but he has to read a poem in front of the class. And she's just like, wow, that was a beautiful poem. She's very into it. And then in the latest edition of the Education Times, there are 8 pages of letters to the editor of people just bashing her. And then there's one sign from a friend just being like, hey, we can't be mad at Jamie about this. Like,
she was right about a lot of this stuff.
She was right about a lot of it. Like, some of us are bullies, like she saw through us. And we never saw her.
And she assumes that that's Marco.
Obviously, it's
riding
Marco.
across. Yeah, it's got to be Marco.
Marco's not mad at her because Marco Vega is based, or the character Marco Vincent is based on Marco Vega in real life.
Duh.
And so while everyone else got a big name change, you know, Sawyer becomes Myrna. Like,
Yeah.
you're not putting that together.
Hey, am I Marco?
Hey, is
Ask
Marco,
Marco.
Is Marco Vincent based on me,
I'm
Marco
starting to
Vega?
think that me, Marco Vega.
So he's not mad at her because he's like, yeah, I know him and I know she wrote about me, but like, I'm the hero
Come
of the
on,
story.
I'm awesome. That's right.
Like-
I am, in fact, awesome.
So
Crushed it.
Jamie is beginning to, it's getting closer to the dance. She has this whole like meltdown conversation with Iz in her room. She goes and she yells at her brother to turn off her.
She's having an argument against herself.
Yes.
And he's playing the guitar and it's too loud for her to argue with herself.
That's exactly right. And so she goes and is like, you suck, basically.
Yeah.
And then he throws away his guitar, and that's really sad. It's time for the dance, everybody.
Thank goodness.
She and Marco show up. Marco keeps calling her Iz, which she does not like.
Nope.
Yep.
And she finally is like, you have to stop calling me Iz. And then she brings up the poetry, to which he says, oh, I didn't write that crap.
Connor wrote it.
Connor wrote it. What? This is crazy.
She's been Cyrano de Bergerac.
And so now
That's a reference I get.
Yeah, Brand didn't get it. He was
no,
just gonna
I've
move
heard
on.
it. I've heard it before. I think I get the general.
She's been Roxanne.
Consensus. Roxanne
Different Roxanne.
from Goofy movie.
No.
Different Roxanne.
Steve Martin.
Okay.
Based on Cyrano.
Yes. She's
So-
been Cyranoed.
You just got Cyrano.
Or I guess like you've been 10 Things I Hate About You
Ten
There you
things I
go.
hate about
Now,
you.
now I'm
Okay.
picking it up.
with the younger sister, Bianca.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
How do
Been Taming of the Shrew-did.
Yeah.
so the friends
Trying to get that for Brand.
the friends have hung up the whale, the paper mache whale, and they have stuffed it with seaweed. They are going to pull
Lindsay and Melody
the
have-
ultimate protest prank.
That'll
of sorts.
show 'em.
That'll show them. A teacher goes up on stage and is like, somebody worked really hard on all of this. We're going to bring him up here for a speech. And she brings up Jamie because Jamie was
Yeah.
initially supposed to be the head of the.
Yeah, she's supposed to help her
decorating.
friends,
Right.
but she blew them all off.
But the
so
teacher doesn't know
Lindsay
that.
and Melody have done this whole thing themselves. I think the teacher kind of knew, but she doesn't care because Jamie's the best-selling
Jamie-
author.
Yeah, Jamie's
Yeah.
famous. And so Jamie goes on stage and begins to give this speech of sorts, and she sees her friends back there. They're about to pull
Everyone
this thing.
is booing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iz is yelling at her like, just step into the limelight.
That's right.
Everyone hates you now, but tell them you're writing a sequel. They'll love you.
They did not love
They
that.
did not love that.
So then is like, hey, rat out your
Rat out
friends.
your friends.
Everyone will be so happy that you saved them from the seaweed doom. And
You'll be back in their good graces.
that's right. And
Yep.
she decides that she is not
Gonna do that.
going to do that. She
Shouts out her friends.
She shouts at her friend. She apologizes to everybody, and all of that good stuff. And the whale still ends up coming down.
Yeah.
No, she stops her friends from doing it. She
Brings
thanks them.
them on
She
stage?
apologizes. She brings them up on stage. Then she
goes
goes
and she pulls
so
the rope.
She takes the blame for
Takes
it.
the blame. It comes down, and every
Seaweed
time it
starts-
swings out, the
It's
seaweed
magical. It's a
shoots
magical
out.
Seaweed's
scene.
flying at like a 180-degree angle. The whale is sitting perpendicular to
Don't
it.
ask.
I don't need to know the physics. I just know it's awesome.
That's exactly
Every
right.
time the whale swings on an upward trajectory, just perfect blast of seaweed.
Yep.
It's like there's probably a seaweed cannon, I think, for physics inside the whale.
Seaweed cannon. Let's
I
go.
don't know. There's no other way because otherwise,
No,
as
doesn't
soon
make
as the
sense.
whale dropped
It comes at
down,
such
it
a
all would
pressure.
have fallen. But nope, it waits until it's like aimed at somebody.
Right.
It's a beautiful work of physics that we don't need explained.
We don't need to explain. But, she is now made up with her friends, and
She needs to make up with Connor. Where's he at?
Connor is
Where's Cyrano at?
Connor's about to leave. Connor's done with all of this. He's going out. His brother dad is picking him up in the truck.
Brother dad.
She comes out after him.
His
and-
27-year-old brother.
That's
His
right.
big brother that still lives at home and does laundry at home and is supposedly maybe in high school is 35 with 2 mortgages. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and she tracks.
He's older in that movie than I am now.
Yeah,
It's very
agreed.
likely. Jamie goes out and tells Connor, hey, don't go. I know that you write poems, and that means a lot. And you've had
see
my
the real
back.
Me. You've
You've
always seen the real me.
So they go back inside, and her brother goes and he sings on stage.
He plays his guitar.
And they all
With 4 other
dance.
guitarists.
And it's
he's
great.
the fourth. The band already
Yeah.
had 3 guitarists, and he was like, you know what this needs?
A
One more.
fourth guitar.
And sings a song that is barely a ripoff of Just the Girl I'm Looking For.
Yeah, that's exactly
I
right.
mean, almost the same exact
Shout
song.
out to the Click 5.
Shout out
That's right.
Click 5. After the dance, they all go to the parents' pizza place, which is good because they were just about to shut it all down and call it quits. So
Turns out, secret ingredient.
well, yeah, that's right.
Sweet.
So the brother runs back to help get some
And
pieces
takes
out. It's so fast.
Takes his jacket off, and in doing so, caused a bunch of ripped up seaweed to fall
Yeah.
on the
Does.
pizza.
When the seaweed came out of the whale, it was like long, untouched strips of seaweed, but somehow touching the brother's
It's the
jacket.
motion of
it
playing the
became
guitar.
It
He's
became
chopping
like,
it
he
with
was
every-
chopping it.
Yeah.
And then
every
it just
strum.
falls perfectly on top of the pizza, seaweed pizza.
It goes out to the people. The
It
people
goes-
love
yeah,
it. Everybody's like,
they
we need
want
more
more.
seaweed pizza. And
The
it
shop is
apparently
saved.
That's right, and it saves the business. And does Jamie and Connor, do they kiss in this movie?
I don't know. I don't think so. Somebody leave us a rating and review if they do kiss and we missed it.
But that's it. That's the movie.
Hey.
Read
Yeah.
it and weep. Let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's break this movie down, share our thoughts on it, read some letterbox reviews, rank it, all that good stuff. On the other side, here on
Decom
Descendants. Really good.
All right.
It's the best in a while.
I did like a media voice there.
Welcome back.
Decom Descendants.
We're talking Read It and Weep this week. It is time for Overtime. It's where we share our thoughts on how this movie aged over time, give our opinions on it. I've got some letterbox reviews if you want it.
Yeah, we do.
Elise says, easily the most haunting, unforgettable depiction of schizophrenia ever put to film.
Yeah, it's a beautiful mind.
Charlie says 2 stars. Someone please get this girl on some antipsychotics.
great.
Maggie says 3 stars. You can tell this movie came out in 2006 because gossip is spread by the school newspaper.
I love it.
Julia says 3 stars. I love how the dad is vibing making crappy pizzas while his daughter has a narcissistic meltdown. Megan says 1.5 stars. Every single outfit in this movie makes me want to die and simultaneously gives me the will to live. Adelaide says 3 stars. This is a Kids Bop version of Mean Girls. And Rosie says 5 stars.
Whoa.
I wanted her fancy computer so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rosie, yes.
It's the best part of the movie.
Let's share our thoughts on this movie. And I'll start with you, Aaron. Aaron, what do you think about Read It and Weep? Obviously, it stuck with you over the years, but what do you think of it now?
I mean, well, the thing that stuck with me, and I don't know what this says about the plot, in that it probably says a whole lot about the plot. The thing I remember most about this movie is the laptop, which you could have seen the first minute of this movie and taken away just as much as I did, having watched the whole thing 20 years ago. Bits and pieces of the plot came back to me as we were watching it. This isn't one that I mean, I've probably seen it a couple times, like around the year it came out, but not a lot in the 20 years since. It was better than I thought. There was better like friend themes and like figuring out who you are, and it was enjoyable. There was enough, not quite hijinks, but there was enough going on that I was interested throughout the whole movie. I have probably not a concern when I was 15, but a lot of concern now for the fact that nobody seems to care that she's not okay. She's not handling the fame well. She's not handling the stress well. She very active, like at the dance, she grabs, there's a scene where she reaches out, grabs
The arm of air. Like nobody, like there's nobody
like
there.
literally just,
Yeah.
and they show you the camera angle. Cause like when you're watching it, you know, we can see so you're like, oh, this isn't that weird. But they show you at the dance, the camera angle of the other kids where she's talking to Air. She reaches out, grabs a hand that's not there, drags her off the dance floor, and then just proceeds to yell at Air. And nobody does anything. And this is like after her meltdown on live TV, talking to the corner where no one is standing. Very clearly, like, if you're not going to get her into a doctor or get her into therapy, like, a parental conversation And instead the mom is just thrilled because the publishers want a sequel. So I mean, I guess I think we get a lot of like bad Disney dads. And in this one, I'm going to give him a pass because he is the only family member working, and just struggling to stay afloat. So he's busy there.
Trying to crack pizza.
The mom is on this book tour with her daughter, watching her have a breakdown bit by bit by bit. And mom doesn't care. Mom is just like, I'm at parties with George Jackson, and that's all I care about. And like, you're fine. Give us a sequel. Just, print more of your journals. You've got so much material. And so that's tough to see. I'm also going to shout out, like, I don't think she should be with Connor.
Whoa.
Sorry. You have gone from not having romantic feelings for him at all, and then finding out that he is a true friend. I find it hard to believe that, like, in that instant, all of a sudden now, like, this is true love and we love him. I don't love. So he makes a deal.
Sometimes you don't realize there were feelings there all along.
They're all along, Aaron. I don't have. I think I'm fine with what you're saying.
Yeah. Well,
watch a rom-com.
I will say Connor gave me the ick in the sense that
he gave you the ick.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. No, I didn't see that coming. I just assumed, like,
No.
Good.
So he makes the deal with his brother, like, hey, I don't want dad to drive me to the dance. I want me and Jamie to have a cool ride. So will you drive us in your truck?
Yeah,
and
brother, dad.
And I will do all your laundry and do all these chores for you if you will just drive us to and from the dance. And that's great. But he does this and he never asks Jamie to the dance. He doesn't do it. He just is making these plans with his brother. And then, like, his brother gives him the advice of, like, dude, what are you waiting for? You have to go ask her. Like, you're doing all this work, but, like, if she doesn't know she's going to the dance with you, like, what are we doing? So he shows up to school and he's like, he tries calling her, but she's on the phone with, like, press and all that stuff. So at school the next day, he's like, finally, I'm going to ask her. And he sees her across the school lobby. She sees Marco. Marco's like, hey, I got a question for you. And so he tries to interrupt the question and ask her first. But she's like, hey, Connor, shush, Marco's talking to me. Which, fair. Like, this is the guy you've had a crush on for, I would say, the whole school year. If Connor, you've done a really bad job of, I would assume that, I would not assume you're trying to ask me to the dance if you were my friend. Like, I'd be like, we're friends and you just want to talk to me about, I don't know, whatever happened yesterday afternoon. But then he gets mad at Jamie because, hey, I did all this work to get us a nice ride to the dance and you're not even going with me.
She didn't know any of that. Dude.
And that's when I was like, Connor, buddy, no. Like, that is on you. I know that you like her and that sucks and I get that, but those were your actions that you took on without her knowledge. Like, if she had asked you, hey, can I ride with you and your brother to the dance? Different story. But, like, she had no clue. And then you're going to blame her for that. And then a couple hours later, you get the girl and she's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I didn't love it. If there's any high school boys listening to this, don't do that.
Yeah, I think that's
just, men in general, don't do that.
Don't do it.
It did feel like a very high school boy thing to do.
Yeah.
Get mad about something that the other person doesn't
like,
know.
In your head,
yeah, it's a very high school thing to do.
So I just didn't love that. And I mean, I guess me at 15, 16, I don't know if I would have, if a guy said that to me, I don't know if I really would have had the wherewithal to be like, hey, that's not my, it would have not sat right with me. But I think the culture around boy-girl relations at the time would have been like, oh, I'm so sorry.
But if anybody is to understand having conversations in your head, it would be Jamie. Jamie should be a little bit more considerate of the fact that he
that's right
was having conversations in his head.
So that was like what, I mean, also, like, Connor is not my type, and so I would be a Marco person.
Which you said a number of times in the watch of this movie.
I would say I'm a Marco person until he starts to talk, and then I'm like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
We can't carry on a conversation. So in that sense, Connor does get a leg up. But yeah, just be better. Don't blame Jamie for your choices. And I guess just be really grateful that she still ended up liking you. So anyway, all that to say, It's a movie that I enjoyed.
What a tangent.
I know. What a tangent.
This is an awkward place to be for me as somebody who is going to start this by saying, you know what, I kind of see myself in Connor.
Yep.
As somebody who
Yeah.
spent most of high school getting friend zoned. I feel for the guy. I also feel for Jamie.
I feel for him too, and I think it's a reasonable like frustration on himself to be like, I did all of this to set up the perfect night.
Getting mad at
But
her,
it's
which
been-
you didn't do, Brady.
Right.
No.
That's what Aaron's upset about. It's not the
Like,
rest of it.
But
Whatever.
I think what
I
was
think
really
it's
happening
really
there was he was
sweet.
mad at himself and taking
Yeah.
it out
Correct.
on her.
Yeah.
Which also not helpful.
Yeah.
The way the movie depicts it, though, is
For sure.
she should have been in his head. Like,
Yes.
and that's the one thing.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I agree
went
with
to a
you,
dance
though,
with my
Brady.
male friend. I went to junior prom with my male friend, and his
Your
not his
mailman.
brother, his dad drove us. And it was great. Like we had a great time. But he was an actual friend. We talked about, hey, do you want to go to this dance with me? Hey, I was thinking like, we're just going to, my dad's just going to drive us so we don't have to rent a limo. And I was like, amazing. I don't want to rent a limo either. Like, but we were actual friends who had actual conversations. We talked to each other every day. Connor and Jamie don't seem to talk
Let
that
me
much.
try. I'm throw this one out at you guys. What if this whole movie is showcasing different mental health issues with each character? And Connor's
doing so much legwork
and
here for this
Connor's
movie.
Connor's brother is actually his dad because it's the only way that possibly makes sense looking at
No
him.
kidding.
But Connor has grown up and known that sometimes his dad has these off days where he thinks that he's his brother. And the best way for Connor to deal with this
now we're just diving into
This
it.
is most generous read of this
is
movie
when
of all
Connor
time.
shows up to ask his dad if he will give him a ride to prom. He realizes, dad's having one of his brother days.
It's one of his brother days. It's kind of a dad-brother combo.
Hey, brother,
No.
could you give me a ride? Because it'd be so embarrassing.
See,
if
I
Dad
thought you were
did.
going to say the brother's not even real.
Also,
That'd have been fun.
another take
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Another take on it for sure.
He's in the parking lot holding the door to a truck that's not there. Like, Jamie, get in.
I think that this movie is fun. I think
is fun.
the Panabakers do a great job, which isn't a surprise. I also thought that the her two girl best friends I thought were really great with the scenes that they had. I thought that there was a real like I bought them all as friends. I do agree.
We did talk about in the movie when Jamie first gets on like her star path.
Yes.
The friends are very supportive and loving. They're like, hey, this is a big moment for her.
We get it. Go sit with your,
We're gonna support her.
tell us
Like
everything.
you can sit with the popular girls at lunch because we know at the end of the day, like we're hanging out, we're having sleepovers. Like this friendship is solid.
So
And that was
felt
a
real.
nice portrayal
Yeah.
of friendship. So it's like you don't immediately throw each other under the bus. Like,
I don't disagree that the Connor part of it was. It didn't
It
feel.
was just a fast
He was
turnaround.
the friend that I was like, I don't like. I kind of forget that he's around.
Yeah.
She also forgot that he was around the entire movie.
Right.
And then at the very end, she was like, oh, he wrote a nice editorial about me.
That's very.
This
That's
is
very
true
kind. But yeah. It is tough now watching it and being like, someone please help this girl. Knowing how Disney worked their stars and kind of caused them to struggle with mental illness, like in this movie, is tough. It's tough knowing that Disney Channel made this movie
During that time?
right as they are.
During the time when some of their stars were struggling.
Yeah, Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus.
I mean, Demi would have been years later because Camp Rock hadn't come out yet. But
as they're like, this is
Lindsay was probably in it.
yeah. So it's like,
I mean, I guess you could base it on a year after this is when Britney had her meltdown.
yeah, it's a little bit naive for Disney to
Think this was all fine.
That this is. They just missed it, I think.
Yeah.
I think they missed it. And so that's tough knowing that while watching this. It's like, oh no, this is going to happen to a lot of girls who are in the Disney cycle. So that's a tough part of this movie. But overall, just as a movie, a good time. Dan?
Yeah, I thought this was okay. I think the movie is okay. The Panabakers are excellent. So that dynamic where they're actual sisters and they both get to play a different role, and it was the best version of this I'm talking to my popular self trope thing that is in a lot of kids' movies. that was really fun. I think the two Panda Bakers working together was fun. The rest of this didn't really vibe for me. It could have been the studio was 100,000 degrees when we watched it. And
I will say if hypothetically we recorded 2 episodes today, now that we're in the second episode, it's getting hotter in here.
But
I'm having some flashbacks to how uncomfortable I was while watching this movie.
But I was, for long stretches, I was just like, let's get to the point where she learns her lesson. Like I wasn't as invested in this movie, I don't think, as as most. I don't know. I just, whatever. The Panda Bakers are really good. The rest of this, it's fine. It's fine. It's not, it's innocuous. It's not bad. And I think if you were 12 in 2006, it probably was really, really important and really good. The laptop and the Panda Bakers, great. The rest of it is. And I will say that the friends are much better than most friends when their friend gets popular in DCOM. So that was nice to see. The romantic relationship stuff, none of that worked. The Education Times is weird, that how quick this becomes a bestseller. They do a lot of work to get this to 90 minutes. And I think you could kind of tell that all the pizzas look really bad too. So there's
the scene at the end where they're all raving with the seaweed pizza. The crust on that pizza looked dry as heck.
You mean to tell me that a bunch of high schoolers showed up to a pizza
and
they got seaweed pizza and they liked it?
No way.
Get out of here.
No way, no how.
The only way this pizza place has been able to stay in business is that it is the only pizza shop in town, and people go there begrudgingly because I want pizza, and this is our
Dad
only
refuses
option.
to just do pepperoni.
Yeah, just throw some pepperoni on the pizza, bro.
Not gonna do it.
No way.
Yeah,
it's too easy.
Tired.
Yeah.
All right, let's make our list. Let's share where this movie's gonna land on our list, and let everybody know if top 10s have changed. Aaron, we're reading a weep. Where are you putting him?
It's not going to be in my top 10.
What?
It is going to be a little higher than Wendy Wu. I was really thinking about, like, while we were watching this movie, and the only part that I really remembered was laptop. I was trying, like, bits and pieces of the plot were coming back to me, and I really thought that this movie had a different ending than what it was.
Interesting.
There was this, and I think it was like almost like you guys remember when you watched Mean Girls?
Yeah.
Sure. And how Katie like is comparing the high school dynamics to Wild Animals, and for most of the movie it's a bit, and then at the end, like when they're all fighting because the burn book has been published, she's like, oh no, this is real, they're all fighting. That is how I remember Iz in the movie, was like she was a figment of her imagination. And then for some reason in my mind, I thought they were turning the book into a movie and Danielle Panabaker was playing Iz. So there was this moment where like
it became real.
She became a real person who was giving her a hard time.
Just crazy.
And that never happened. So this movie is super memorable. And I would just like to share that thought process where I thought the whole time that at some point.
And it's going to be ahead of Wendy Wu after everything you've said in this episode.
I know. Because Wendy Wu had moments, like this movie moved and like the plot kept going, and but there are moments of when, I don't know, listen. Ratings can change. We can, Wendy Wu could be number 1 next week. Who knows?
Could have.
But right now I have Read It and Weep at 14. Ahead of Go Figure.
Bikes, that's high.
It is high. We'll see. I've got a lot to think about here. I think my whole list could probably do a shake up.
We're doing shake 'em ups.
We'll do them. Yeah, you know,
1 week's just going to be a shake 'em up episode.
When you hit 62 episodes or 63 episodes, that's when you do the shake 'em ups.
That's when you do shake 'em ups.
Well, the good news is we're almost done, right?
We're almost done.
We're almost through the list.
So anyway, yeah. I mean, watching it, like there are a lot of good moments here, and while I think that the parents are really up there with some of the worst parents we've seen, just from how much they don't seem to care about their daughter, both their children, really. Lenny is forgotten, and I don't know how old Lenny is.
Lenny's going through a time.
Lenny's doing it.
You could convince me that Lenny is the younger brother. You could convince me that Lenny is Jamie's twin brother. You could also convince me Lenny is the older brother. I don't know.
I don't know.
But sometimes he gets sad and he listens to,
and that's fair.
Michelle Branch.
He does great of being like, hey, I am a cute high school boy and I also have feelings. So you know what? Shout out Lenny.
Shout out Lenny.
So while it's tough to watch these parents not do anything, I think it is a nice like conversation piece where we can be like, oh, this is something that we probably thought was normal in 2006. And guess what? Not normal for her to be talking to herself. Anyway, so right now it's Read and Weep. I still want that laptop. Disney, if you could get on that. Top 10 has not changed. 10, Halloween Town. 9, Get a Clue. 8, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. 7, Phantom of the Megaplex. 6, Smart House. 5, Johnny Tsunami. 4, Right on Track. 3, Cadet Kelly. 2, High School Musical. And 1, Motocross.
I have
And is this the last time we see the Panabakers?
It might be.
So long, Panabakers.
So it's going to get a Panabaker bump for a week until,
Panabaker bump.
and then I'll knock it down.
Weirdly
Panabaker bump.
enough, I didn't realize it until after I had done it, but I have Panabakers next to Panabaker. I have Read It and Weep right above
Life
Stuck
is
in the
Rough?
Suburbs.
Oh, okay.
So I have Stuck in the Suburbs at 20. I have Read It and Weep at 19, which is behind Wendy Wu from last week, which is still up there at 13. My top 10 has not changed. Phantom at 10, Full Court Miracle 9, Smart House 8, Eddie 7, Cadet Kelly at 6, Get a Clue at 5, High School Musical at 4, Motocross at 3, Johnny Tsunami at number 2, and the greatest movie of our time and any time for the rest of time, Brink.
There you have it.
All time, anytime, rest of time.
You guys both having this in your top 20 is throwing me a little bit for a loop. I have
Maybe
this
you're
at,
wrong.
Maybe I am. I have this at 30, and it's better than half. So it's like in the top half of these movies. I think for the Panabakers and the idea of the movie, I have it at 30. But for what actually we get, how some characters are portrayed, how they don't really, like, either you buy into this bit or you don't, and I guess I just didn't. I have it at 30. So that it is ahead of, wait for it. It is ahead of The Ultimate Christmas Present, and it's behind Up, Up, and Away, which is a movie that's like 80 minutes long that also features an entirely black cast as superheroes in the year 2000, which I think is revolutionary and on its own needs to be in the top 30 just because of that. So that's where Reading a Weep falls for me. Top 10 has not changed. Halloween Town, Full Court Miracle, Scream Team, Get a Clue, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, Phantom of the Megaplex, Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, Johnny Tsunami, Cadet Kelly, Motocross.
There you go.
There you have it.
There's been lots of talk recently about Cheetah Girls.
Cheetah Girl.
And Aaron's continued affinity for it. So next week we're heading back to New York. We're heading back to
We are
the
not
Cheetah
heading
Girls.
back to New York. I mean, we are for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
But then we're heading to Barcelona.
It's a world tour.
Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yes.
We're heading to Barcelona. So come on back next week. We'll talk Cheetah Girls, The Deuce.
I do like Cheetah Girls too more than
Barcelona edition.
Girls
Where
3.
we
That's
will
good.
see if we can understand the dialogue more in 2 compared to 1.
I love it.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I don't think so. There's going to be more Spanish.
See you next week, everybody.
Bye.
DComs all the time. DCOM Descendants is a Bramble Jam podcast produced by Brandon Gray and the Bramble Jam Podcast Network studios in Greenville, South Carolina. For more information on the pod, go to dcompodcast.com. Follow us on the socials, DCOM Descendants. To watch us watch these movies live and comment on how dang hot it is in the studio, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. And for the love of everything good and decent, open up that Apple Podcast app and leave us a review. Let's get to 300 so I have to watch more of these.
Nice.